Hello all, and welcome to this Friday evening's beer review, which I am dubbing the summer is never going to end, is it? So it's like 81 degrees right now, but with the humidity index, it is more like 85. But let me remind you, it's like 5:30 in the afternoon right now. So yeah, sticky hot. And what are we reviewing? Well, I went to Tamura's hoping to find another sixer of that lovely fest beer, and I found that they had restocked some of the Japanese craft beers. And so I've never actually had this particular brewer before. This is Hitachi Hitachino Nest, and this is from Q sorry, Kiuchi Brewery, and this is in Ibaraki, Japan. And it actually has a fairly long history since it didn't start as a beer brewery. It started as a sake brewery, and it was founded in 1823. So yeah, Naka, Ibaraki, Japan. So um, Naka, city of Naka within this prefecture of Ibaraki. Um, I know nothing about Naka, but yeah, I've never had anything from this brewery before. I might have said that already. And this is their red rice Hitachino beer. Yeah, red rice ale. And I've seen this classified as a Belgian strong pale ale, as a wild ale. I'm not exactly sure of the style it falls under. I do know that it was made using red grained rice, which lent a certain coloration to it. Uh, this is 7.0 ABV, and this cost about $6 for the bottle in Hawaii. So kind of on the expensive side, but not ridiculously expensive for a bottle of import craft beer. So without much further ado, let's just go and pour this out. We're going to be using the Belgian glass because that's what I think is probably the best guess of a glass to use. I was expecting a little bit more of a head there. So, a sort of ruby amber. Light gets through on the bottom with an off-white frothy head, kind of quickly dissipating. Okay, I get some Belgian-ish yeast notes there, but they're kind of buried under an odd sort of tangy graininess, for lack of a better word. So it's grainy, but it also smells tangy at the same time. It's getting kind of harder to go and suss out since the head's mostly gone now. But yeah, probably should have let this one warm up a little bit more. Is there a brew date on this? Probably not. It says 23 RR.2301. So I don't think this has like been on the shelf for super long. So I'm guessing that this was manufactured on the 1st of January, which might be why it's so muted. Well, January of 2023. Okay, onto the palate now, since I'm not getting much from the nosing. Mm. Whoa. And yeah, fairly big on the palate. Yeah, there's a tangy, almost fruity like note that emerges in the mids and into the finish. I can't quite place it. Up front, you get some phenolic notes. They're not particularly strong, but they're there throughout from start all the way into finish. Little hints of clove. Pretty mild carbonation on the palate. An odd graininess in the top note. There's also kind of like a caramelized Maillard note too underneath that tangy fruitness, tangy unspecified fruitiness. I was expecting this to be a lot brighter for some reason. It has a lot more kind of dark taste notes to it. There's hop bitterness that kind of rises in the mid to finish and then declines in the finish. Doesn't really have any sort of flavor or dimensionality to it. It's just sort of a balancing bitterness. Feels slightly lighter than a 7.0, but I feel like has some high acidity, higher than average acidity to it. That's it's hiding very well. There's sort of a lingering maltiness on the palate too. That's not, it doesn't feel like your average kind of beer maltiness, barley maltiness, or I'm guessing it's the red rice. Even if this was made in January of 2023, yeah, that's a little bit past its time. I would venture. Now that it is quite literally 1023. I'm guessing it's a date and not like some sort of odd batch number thing. Yeah, I'm kind of slightly disappointed with this right now, um, because I was expecting more complexity. Yes, it's fairly unique, but it's kind of one note, and it doesn't seem to express itself that well. And I have a suspicion that this has been on the shelf for a while. Um, Even though I haven't seen it on the shelf, sometimes they do move product in between stores. So Yeah, this might have been on the shelf in town for a bit or something like that. It just kind of feels um, not that expressive, and I don't think, from the reviews I've seen on this, while it is somewhat polarizing, it is, no one actually says, oh yeah, this is very, this is a very mild, simple beer. It's usually got some notes about how it tastes. I really want to try this fresh. And something tells me like those, the Belgian yeast notes would be brighter. The hoppiness would be brighter, and heck, maybe even like you know, interesting color with the light going right through it. You see it on your end, but I don't really see it from my angle here. It looks a lot redder on the camera than it does in person. I'm drinking this so fast because I really want to try to grab onto it, but and say, oh yeah, this is really great, but it's not. And I hesitate to kind of like put like a really firm rating on this, just because I think this is not the ideal right now. This is not how I should be drinking it. I should be drinking it fresher. So now that I kind of grasp, and let me just go and show you here what I'm talking about in regards to like the. Of course, my camera likes to go close except when it doesn't want to. But yeah, the date's like printed down here. What I think is a date anyway. So yeah, um, if you're in Japan, almost certainly where you can get this pretty fresh, I would say yeah, go and give it a shot. Um, if you're like me in Hawaii, well, sometimes when you're dealing with imports, you're going to get ones that have been on the shelf for a while. And like this one, not in the refrigerated portion either. It's over, it's right on, on the top shelf over there, right on under the fluorescent light. So perhaps not ideal, but yeah, I do want to try this again because I do like the concept, and I do like to try beers at their freshest, unless they're purposely aged. So, Hitachino Nest beer, red rice ale, kind of closed up, kind of mild tasting, but I think that has more to do with the fact that this has been on the shelf for a while. And that is your beer review for this evening, folks. Cheers. Or since this is a Japanese beer company, kanpai.